on this evening's session is entrepreneurship, innovation in the DNA. So just as a reminder, none of us need this reminder, but we're starting this decade with multiple crises on our hands. We already had a few of those, and then a worldwide pandemic and an economic crash to cope with as well. And so what we'd like to focus on this session is a look ahead to the opportunities for citizens, businesses, communities, and all economic actors to unleash new ways of thinking and creating a future fit for purpose and fit for that new normal that everyone keeps proposing to us. So what we've done is we've collected a fine group of people to talk about their own experiences of entrepreneurship and innovation, particularly in a social enterprise dimension. So I'm really so very proud to be here this evening chairing your panel. Hopefully most of you already know me, or indeed know Cosmic relatively well. So Cosmic, we are a long-standing social enterprise and part of the Devon economic picture. So this is our 24th year of operation, and we're based in East Devon and active in our provision of digital skills and support across the area. Major focus on Devon, but also active in the adjoining counties and the wider region. And for all of those 24 years, digital inclusion has been our social objective. So looking at ways to improve people's economic position, their life chances, through the use of digital technologies. And guess what? These last 3 months have shown us a new focus and a new set of opportunities. And I was just sharing with Chris that my team today is celebrating our 100th virtual workshop since lockdown started. So we have been exceptionally busy and of course focusing a lot of attention on organisations and businesses who desperately need digital support at the moment. Anyway, enough about me, because I just want to quickly introduce the three panellists that we're going to showcase this evening. I'll start by introducing Nick Perez. Nick is Head of Digital at Torbay and South Devon NHS Trust, Foundation Trust rather. He uses research and digital and visual technologies such as VR and 360 videos to try and help make better sense of our understanding of health and illness, including helping clinicians to understand the importance of humanities considerations in caregiving. So we'll come on to Nick shortly. I'll also introduce you to Alison. Alison is the Chief Exec of Devon's leading community reuse centre, Proper Job. Love that brand. Based in the market town of Chagford, it was founded by a community group and has developed a resource centre, shop and cafe, and gone on to become a springboard for other local initiatives. It's become a key feature of the local town, bringing people together with focus on protection and preservation of that local environment. And then we have Toby, who is founder and director of Street Factory Studios in Plymouth, which does transformational work with young people, using dance to instill a sense of pride and helping them to rise to the challenges of life. Toby came to the UK as a teenager to escape racism as a Roma gypsy in Poland. And in 2018, he was awarded an MBE. So I think you can see just what a shining set of examples we've got to benefit from this evening, and I can't wait to hear from each of them. So we'll kick off with Nick, and I'll hand over to Nick to talk us through the case study of the work he does in South Devon and Torbay. Nick, over to you.
No problem. So hi again, everybody. So my name's Nick. I'm Head of Digital Technologies at Torbay. Very, very interested in immersive technologies for health and social impacts. And at Torbay, we've been using these technologies for a few years now. And it's really been quite an incredible journey. So I'd like to give a little bit of context first. So at Torbay, if I go to the next slide, please. Our journey with this new technology started with something quite simple, which really was a change of perspective. And what I mean by that is we at most hospitals will have a simulation team which will help train the medics of the future and our kind of healthcare staff using simulation activities. Typically it's a mannequin that plays a patient, and you will role play, if you like, these different scenarios. And this was really great for what we call technical skills. But one thing I thought we were forgetting was the non-technical skills, which is the things that get taken for granted. Things like empathy and compassion, the way we connect together, the way we communicate. And our use of virtuality started right here. Actually, what do we learn from the patient perspective? And filming the patient perspective and harnessing virtuality technology to allow our clinicians to see through the eyes of a patient, which was extremely powerful stuff. The other change of perspective, if you like, was I'm actually, my background is actually as a filmmaker and a videographer. So starting work in the NHS with a different background, a discipline in media arts was very eye-opening and very interesting. A, the way we were using kind of cameras, but B, what we could learn from imagery. And we know as we watch films and television and such, there's a lot of, you can credit imagery too for our understanding of compassion and connection. So as a filmmaker in the NHS with a creative discipline, looking at what I could bring to our education for helping us understand better humanities considerations such as compassion and empathy and communication. And that's been, again, a really, really interesting journey, but really enforcing the power that creativity has in various sectors and in healthcare in my kind of example. So our use of immersive technologies, which is, relatively new in the sense that it has been around a long time, but it comes and goes. But in this kind of reiteration of immersive technologies, which has been around sort of 4 or 5 years, for us, it's been very much a case of reflecting on the humanities. When you operate in the space of new technologies and you have VR, AR, and AI, it's very easy for people to think this is the technology that will replace the human. And we don't look at it like that. We look at it as a way to enhance what it is to be human and human connectivity. And for us, the work that we've done in virtual reality is all about making sure the human is part of that journey. So whether it's we're recording patient perspectives so we can learn as clinicians and healthcare staff how we can make that journey more comfortable, or maybe we're creating pathways for patients so before they even have to step foot in a hospital, they can do a virtual tour of the hospital and understand the environments, the noises and things like that to reduce anxiety. This very humanistic element of the technology is extremely powerful. It's about understanding how we connect as human beings, and the reaction we've had to this technology in this setting has been quite incredible. So kind of bring up to date with COVID-19, we've been harnessing this technology an awful lot for our training, as you can obviously understand, as we look at deploying more digital platforms and education for the very need for COVID-19. One of the things we're very, very concerned about was how we continue to make this very humanities focused. And so one of our projects was to understand what does it look and feel like for a patient. Face visor, face mask, eyesight obstructed. We can't read, facial expressions. So it's really important we understand how we can effectively communicate still as clinicians and patients and healthcare staff. So we recorded scenarios from the patient perspective to help us reflect on this, but also a lot of training material harnessing virtual reality, again, to really enhance how we could cope and how we could train effectively during COVID-19. And that was a process of things that happened very, very quickly for a diverse workforce to suddenly grab digital technologies and digital education. Has been a really, really fascinating few months. And so what happened a few years ago, because we had this great kind of sort of progressive kind of traction with immersive, and we could see there was real benefit there, we set up a VR lab, or immersive technologies lab in the NHS. We think it's the first, if not one of the first in the NHS, in Torbay, looking at these new technologies, helping inform the national strategy of how this technology gets used in healthcare. But actually, what are the experiences which make a difference? And the technology was definitely a driver for this. But for us, the most important thing was bringing people into the space. And that it's just absolutely incredible. We use this opportunity to bring clinicians, technologists, creatives, and patients together in a co-design effort. The technology definitely ignited those conversations, that curiosity, if you like, but it was those conversations that really mattered as we start creating from the ground up solutions, which this technology works for, it doesn't work for, but the point is it was about bringing those people together through that kind of curiosity of technology, and that was really quite fantastic. One of the things we've been very passionate about, actually, when we use things like virtual reality in healthcare, is what we call bringing the outside in. So we've been using virtual reality for therapeutic use, for rehab, and it's often been driven by the things that are very on our doorstep, which are very kind of Devon driven, if you like. So, for instance, Nick, our patient there, who was going through rehab using that bike, we created virtual Wembury for him. So he was able to cycle around Wembury, a place that before being in hospital he knew. For our patients, whether it's pain distraction, whether it's anxiety reduction, we use scenes from Dartmoor, our coastline, or the natural beauty of Devon. So we're bringing the outside in and using virtuality for the well-being of our staff as well, particularly over the last few months. You know, you can imagine how stressful that's been. Carefully facilitated, making sure infection control and hygiene obviously was at the top priority, but allowing our staff to escape to virtual scenes away from the Magnolia walls. In actual fact, we got David Attenborough was very kind and did a voiceover for one of our experiences, which was a mountain meditation scene, which our staff have absolutely loved during the last few months, being able to virtually escape from the hospital, if you like. And we've learned an awful lot in those few years, and we're very passionate about taking our learning out now. So we've been, over the last few years, kind of reaching out to colleges and open days and really showing what's available. We understand the pace of digital, but we also realise how important digital is going to be in health and social care. There will be roles in the future which aren't currently there, ones that are very digital centric and based. For instance, virtual anatomy is an incredible, experience for our medical students and such like that. But a healthcare system that can be based around the creatives, the software engineers, as well as the clinicians, this is the future of healthcare. So it's about taking our learning outside as well. Next slide, please. And as part of that, it's how can we harness what we've learned, those journeys, that implementation, that co-design effort with the wider community. So we know immersive technologies has a big part to play. What we don't want to happen is people to have to leave the Devon area to be able to access these technologies or become trained in them. So a couple of things we're going to be looking at doing is building a library of freely accessible immersive content that can benefit our visitors to the area, our education, our health and social care. We're also looking at how we can do more outreach, how we can help with skills through workshops, training and development, and actually making that platform available for others to contribute to. So a virtual Devon, if you like, where that content really has a part to play, whether it's on the back of a steam train for somebody, and that's great for kind of anxiety reduction, or whether there's a day centre, which would benefit from a virtual walk up on Dartmoor, or whether it's a case of creating immersive experiences for, bringing tourism back into the area. There's lots we can do around immersive technologies when it's done right. And the thing that we've always been key for us is bringing the human along with that. This isn't a case of new technology replacing, it's about enhancing the human journey. Thanks very much.
Super, thank you very much, Nick. What a fantastic range of work to be involved in. I had more than just a hint of jealousy while you were talking, Nick. Well done, brilliant.
Thanks.
Super. So Alison, and as a reminder, Alison, Chief Exec of Proper Job, based in Chagford. Over to you, Alison.
Hi there. Wow, that is a really kind of tough act to follow. Thanks, Nick. Thinking about the challenges that we have faced over the last couple of years, and I think when it comes to reuse, the possibilities are endless. We have an endless supply of resources that get donated to us, resources and things that people don't want. One of the very reasons Proper Job was set up was to tackle the lack of employment. That's exactly why it's called Proper Job. So this was 25 years ago. And for a small town, Chagford has a population of about 1,500 people. We now employ 20 local people. And we plan to build on that, especially after the pandemic. There's been a lot of redundancies, a lot of reliance on tourism, and a lot of people have lost their jobs locally. So we are kind of braced, ready to support that. So another challenge, our kind of main kind of focus over the last kind of few years has been to reduce waste. And to support our community in reducing waste. So we run workshops and educational programs, teaching people to be more resourceful, This includes workshops, composting workshops, skill shares, events, and bringing people together in the name of reuse and recycling. The COVID-19 challenges have been endless. I mean, we've actually been kind of closed. We haven't been able to continue doing the kind of day-to-day kind of processing work that we are so used to doing. However, it's given us the opportunity to focus on running educational workshops online, something that we have been forced into doing, which using technology, and I'm sure many of you have had similar kind of experiences, and it's been fantastic actually to being thrown into something that we would never have done. So we're running home composting workshops, and actually our outreach has increased. We had participants from London, Italy, so reaching out of our little Devon bubble and kind of increasing our social impact. And that's definitely something that we're going to continue to do after this. More challenges that have come out of the kind of COVID-19 pandemic that we want to help and support is to help, as I said at the beginning, the possibilities are endless. We have this supply of resources, and we have a supply of broken computers and technology that are donated. So we are working at the moment to tackle kind of technology poverty and try and get these computers fixed up by local volunteers, and send them out to families that need them to be able to access online work courses, and to help with homeschooling. COVID-19, the deluge of unwanted items that we are seeing come through the lockdown spring clean, it's phenomenal the amount of stuff that we're having to process at the moment. And I think what the biggest kind of challenge is to kind of think, how are we going to use this sheer amount of stuff and use it in a positive way and get it to the people that need it the most. For such a small population where we really need to think about how we're going to redirect this stuff and to stop it from ending up in kind of waste disposal. So yeah, it's amazing. I think also something that's come out of the pandemic is how that everyone has become a lot more resourceful. So something that we have been preaching for and running workshops on, we have seen the amazing kind of results of people being at home during lockdown and making do and mending and being more creative and getting gardening and fixing. So that's definitely something that we are keen to kind of harness and nurture as we kind of come out of lockdown. There are a lot of skills that we would like to kind of continue to help people to keep going. So using tools, I mean, when technology isn't something that we're kind of huge with, but social media has been massive for us as a community project. It's such a great way to be able to tap into your local community and let them know what's going on, and to be able to include them and to get feedback. An example of this would be the kind of global movement on kind of the plastic, single-use plastic, the Blue Planet effect, and how we were able to kind of use social media to gather the community together. We created a plastic-free Chagford group, and we actually managed to get a plastic-free status for Chagford. Unfortunately, this is something that seems to have gone out the window in the last few months. Sadly, due to the pandemic, we're now facing bigger plastic pollution in terms of gloves and face masks. But I think it just goes to show how as an organisation, we are kind of ready and waiting for the next kind of thing to change, and we can be adaptable, and we can we're just, we're ready to kind of be open-minded of how we need to change to support our community over the next kind of coming years and months. So yes, I think just constantly being able to kind of think about how we can adapt, how we can change, how we can support our community in the best way possible. So
Super.
thank you.
Thank you, Alison. That was fascinating. And you've just reminded me that in the early days of Cosmic, looking out, especially Devon-wide, to see who else was out there driving social enterprise forward, Proper Job was always on our radar. So, sharing that timeline has reminded me that, yes, I do know your organisation and have done for a long time, but great to hear of all of the recent developments. Well done, Alison. So I'll introduce Toby next. As a reminder, Toby is founder and director of Street Factory Studios in Plymouth. Over to you, Toby.
Toby GMB from Street Factory. Our company works with all ages of people, and it's all about inspiration, it's all about supporting, and it's all about encouraging people to achieve their dreams. We have a belief that each person is a genius. They just haven't discovered yet what type of genius they are. And it's all about giving them the opportunity and the tools to do so, to discover it. Some of the stuff that we have been doing at the moment in time is very different due to COVID. But before that, we were delivering lots of workshops, assistance, confidence building, team building, equality, diversity, dance, performances, showcases, theatre work. So we've been all over the place with our work, but our main kind of focus and base on our work is about helping people to discover their genius and discover the goals and achieve them. So we're really working hard and supporting people to achieve the goals. At this moment in time, due to COVID, we have been working twice as hard and delivering twice as much because of the needs of our community. So something that's really important to Street Factory is to work on the needs of our community. It isn't just about what we want to deliver, make sure we deliver what's needed. That's really important. So yeah, we had some of the technology stuff that was really difficult for some of our young people, some of our older people as well that we're working with. And we had to hustle, and we were given a little fund that we could buy laptops and iPads, and then we can distribute them to the right community, to the right people, to the families that really needed it, who haven't spoken to them for ages, or haven't seen their grandkids, or haven't communicated with the other dancers and stuff like that. So that was really, really big for us to kind of communicate and bring everyone back together. Delivering all our workshops online, it was very different, especially for me. I'm a kind of people's person, so I love people, having people around me, having a great laugh, having a good time is really important. But then not having them with me is very difficult, because you're in one room playing the music, getting hype, and then everyone else has to follow. And that's quite tricky. Then we have another thing that we run, and it's called Creating Change. So that program's been running constantly, and they need more support, more encouragement. So Creating Change is for people to discover again the genius, to discover who they are, to discover about themselves, and to learn and grow, and especially in this moment in time. And especially is really important to look after people's mental health at this moment in time. So we did it through dancing, through rapping, through little challenges, through theatre work, through painting, distributing painting stuff for the families and children, and toys and computers and stuff, and music to the dancers. So everyone kind of kept busy and creating and making. So that's something that's really important to us as a company. And I think us as growing as a company, one of the things we're working towards now is building one of the first hip-hop theatres in the country. But it will be a hip-hop theatre. It will be based on hip-hop. It will be dancing, DJing, rapping, poetry, theatre, graffiti art, and all sorts of different creative elements that are going to be there. But the main thing that's going to run through it is just something that we're based on. Our company is based on 5 elements, and the elements are based on respect, peace, love, unity, and having fun. And that's something that runs through the whole program. So what we deliver, something that's really important to us, again, is to deliver what is needed. And something like the 5 elements are really, really important, which give people foundations then for them to build on their own futures and their own lives. I mean, I've got a couple of stories to share with you. One of them is a young woman who came to me 8 years ago, really struggled in life, had a really hard background, really difficult relationship with family, Today, she is married. She just bought a second home. She has a job. She has a baby. She has a husband. She has a fantastic life. And all because of the support and encouragement and the acknowledgement she was given from us. And that's something that's important to us, because when you come and join us, we give you a clean slate and give you a clean opportunity. That's what a company does. And then gives you an opportunity to grow and to learn and to experience and to have opportunities. Another young man we had is part of our group. He's become one of our leaders now. He came to us at the age of 18, didn't know what to do, bit lost, bit kind of not sure where to go, what to do in life. Joined our company just by a chance, came down to support his friends to a dance class, came along and never left since. Since then, he's been touring all around the world. He's working with a company called Frantic Assembly, which is a physical theatre company. He's been working with us. We performed and toured in hundreds of different places, created major shows, and today he's one of our mentors. He's one of our hip hop educators, and that's what he does as his full-time job. So what we do, we don't expect everyone to be dancers or rappers or singers or DJs or anything in that way. But what we're saying is hip hop will allow you to kind of open your mind, to start being open to learn new things, to accept that, you know, you got a journey to make and to learn from that. And that's something that's really cool through what we're doing through the hip hop culture. So we deliver hip hop, we do it through hip hop. We really enjoy what we do and love to see the changes in people's lives. And it's incredible to be there later when they come back to you and they've got kids and they're living a dream, they're traveling around the world, or they're settled now, and stuff like that is just beautiful to see when they come back. So our company is based on making sure people fulfill the dreams and people fulfill the kind of happiness that they aim for in their lives.
Lovely, Toby. We love that. Fun, dreams, and making people's lives better. I think that's something that all of us involved in social enterprise, no matter what our delivery looks like, because ours is very different to yours, but I think we would empathise and definitely share that ethos. Great work. Great work.